preparing to do the live stream.
Great.
So you'll probably want to just check to make sure that it's going into the right places that you had set it
We
on
can
up
have a
for it to
look.
go. It's not live yet, just so that you know it's still like in the bar, like.
Okay, let's have a look. Oh, technology, we love it. Let's have a
It's redirecting to the live streaming page now. It's just stages. Thank you guys, everyone, for joining today. We are going to share all about Facebook and, why some tutors are not successful on Facebook and why that is not going to be you and why you are going to be experiencing success.
Thank you, Joanne. We are delighted to have you with Qualified Tutor. We are so excited to have you as our very loyal partner. And we know you're in London right now, so we can't wait to see you this week at BET. We'll leave you to run this session. You may have some other people joining from the QT community that have been messaging, and really looking forward to learning lots from you during this session.
Yes, I'm so excited. I've been putting this together over the last couple of days, really thinking about, what really does set the people who win on Facebook.
Oh, I think Joanne's just lost connection. She's the Wi-Fi in wherever she is in London right now is not being kind to her. So we will hold on for
Yes.
Joanne to rejoin us. I'm just keeping an eye on the participants because we've got more people joining to find out more
She will.
about how to get the most from their Facebook and to be seen by it. Hello, Joanne. Oh, she's out again. Let's have a look. How many of you use Facebook at the moment? Do a hands up. One, two, all of you. Jamie, you use it? And are you succeeding? Ah, Jamie's giving us a nod. Oh, Millie, how long have you been using Facebook for?
I am now learning to apply what I've learned.
Oh,
I've been on
amazing.
it. I've been on it for a long while, but I'm just now learning how to apply the whole social media thing.
Fantastic. Um, and Anita, you use Facebook, don't you?
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
but I think my thing is just the lack of consistency. That's my issue. So I need a bit of a push,
Yeah,
get it started again.
I think Joanne will definitely be able to
Mm.
help you. Do many of you get lots of leads through Facebook? That's what we hear from tutors, that they find they get quite a lot of leads through Facebook. No, Anita's shaking
Correct.
her
I am
head.
going to,
Ah, hello, Joanne.
sorry about that. It's
That's
it's
okay.
it's just causing some issues just because I am on a Wi-Fi here and I'm not sure um how much it's liking me doing the live streaming onto LinkedIn and Facebook.
We were just discussing who is using Facebook currently. If it's a problem, Joanne, we can stop the live and we will take the recording and then we can post it afterwards if it's a problem. She's gone again. Oh dear. Not enjoying the Wi-Fi. So Jane says it's too early to tell. A few leads, but not too many. Miss Kelly says, since I've been engaging more than just posting, I'm getting more engagement, but I'm not as consistent as I need to be. And that's something Anita said as well. Joanne, if it's easier, please stop live streaming.
Yep.
And we will post the recording on YouTube and LinkedIn afterwards for people to be able to watch it. And let's just get it recorded so people can learn from you in the time that we have. Hi, Paul.
Oh,
Cool.
it's so great seeing so many of you guys from our community inside of here. Yay. All right. So what I'm gonna do right now, it is asking me to um ask for permission to record. So I
And
think
I've
because I
just
got kicked
given it.
out. Okay, great.
So
Great.
that should
So
have
then it
worked. Let me know. Has that come up?
record, continue. Yeah. So we're recording it right here, and then we'll be able to share it with inside of your community.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, you are welcome. And I'm going to open on up. We're really going to be having some interactive discussion today. So thank you to all of you that have your current camera um, on so that we can have an incredible conversation about Facebook and what are some of the things that are working and why should we maybe take a look at what works and what doesn't work when it comes to utilizing this tool. And a lot of us, what we end up doing is we take a look at what are other tutors doing, right? But the problem is a lot of tutors don't know what they're doing. And so we end up copying a whole bunch of people who don't know what they're doing. And then we wonder why what we're doing isn't working. And that can be so stressful and it can be so frustrating when that happens. So I'm going to open on up my screen and I'm going to share it with you to let me do this. I'm going to hit that share button. Let's come on over over here. We're going to go to here we go. Oh, I so don't miss this bar anymore inside of Zoom. It gets a little crazy. Okay, I think it locked. It just brought me out. Here we go. We're going to make this nice and big so that you guys can see all of the amazing stuff here. So let's hit this button here. Here we go. So why tutors fail on Facebook and why you won't. So let's talk about number one. So I kind of like brought this all together into almost like 10 different points of like why people fail. And one of the reasons that tutors will fail is because they make their business all about them. Right? They focus on their achievements, their credentials, or their services without addressing any of the client's pain points. And parents and students, they care more about how you can solve their problems than about your resume, right? When we go to get a job, we need to send our resume. But when we start creating, our own brand online, people want to see results. And so that is what's going to become more important than just taking a look at the resume. So I'd like to kind of open up this for conversation. Have you seen this? Have you done this? What stands out to you when you see this idea or this thought that about focusing on achievements, credentials versus focusing on our ideal client? Have you seen anybody do this? Yeah, Kelly.
Well, I have been working a couple of months with the mindset of every time I post, does it add value? But I'm focusing more on engaging in groups and looking for groups um, that I can add value to. And I have to
Mhm.
tell you, it's a real mind shift. You go from putting your business out there to feeling like you're part of a bigger community and part of these micro communities within that. And also, I feel like I'm not selling, but I'm doing what I love to do. And I feel like it's giving. And so if I continue to give, I will reap the rewards from that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that? And that actually goes into the next slide here of the what should we be doing instead, right? Which is the speak directly to our audience's concerns, right? What are they struggling with? How can I be of service? How can I add value? And then, oops, let's go back here. Um, I have here, share your success stories or case studies that are going to highlight the client transformation. And this actually, yes, was taken yesterday. This is a picture with a family that I visited in London. And these are all 6 kids that I worked with. They found me pretty early in me starting my online tutoring business. And I worked with, it all started with the girl in pink. Her name is Amina, and I started working with her. And then that moved into me working with Ali, and then his sister Miriam, and then Salman, and then to his brother Mustafa. And then this little guy, who, by the way, was in a crib when I was teaching Amina, they all lived in the same bedroom. I'd be teaching her and he'd be in the crib. And then when he was 3, his parents asked me to start working with him as well. And so when I share those kinds of stories, that really makes a different kind of impact versus, I'm focusing on, my achievements, my credentials, I'm amazing, blah, blah, blah. I've been tutoring for 20 years, or I have this much experience, or all of that kind of stuff. We've all seen people who have great credentials, but aren't that great at teaching. Am I right? Anybody? Yeah. Will they record? Well, now that I own the recording, yes, I will definitely post this inside. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to get the recording from Qualified Tutor, but no, I will have it, so I will be able to post inside of Circle. Yes, I love it. Well, any other thoughts that you guys would like to add to this? All right, I'm gonna share with you real quick, and I don't know, I'm gonna put this on pause for a second and stop share because I'm going to make sure that I'm sharing computer sound. Now, I did move to a new computer. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this. So let me share sound. And Kelly, let me know if you guys can hear it once I share it or if you cannot.
No sound.
Yeah, I don't have any sound either at this point. Let me see if this one has sound. So let's go on over to the presentation. Let's see if there's sound here. It's just rolling, rolling, rolling. So we'll see if it works. Anyway, you'll be able to get to check it out on my LinkedIn because that's where I'm going to share this particular video for you guys to see it. So don't worry, you're not going to be missing anything with this one. Let's come back on into this one over here. Still kind of rolling here. All right. Not letting me do anything. I hate the layout now that I've been using pencil spaces. I really hate all of these tabs that go on top of each other that ruin your ability to present in a more clear way. But here's another thing that a lot of tutors will do. They send promotional materials without actually understanding the buying stages of a client. So as we take a look here, and I'm going to see if I can exit out of some of this stuff because I just got this button that is just bucking the heck out of me. Pages would like access to the microphone. Okay, let's allow. There we go. There's that. All right, so here are the buying stages. People don't immediately buy all the time. Unless it's a referral, like those really actually can go very quickly. Like once they reach out to you. So once the person talks about you, it doesn't mean that they're always going to reach on out to you. But once they go to that next step, they can begin to feel like, oh, they trust you and they move forward very quickly. And so then we are left with this feeling of, oh, everybody must do that, right? Everybody must move very quickly through the process. And that is not how it works for most people. So people don't buy unless really it's a referral. They need to build that trust. They need to feel connected first. So just putting those promotional messages out there isn't going to work. They skip the awareness and the consideration stage, and then it leads to low engagement. So they're putting these messages out there, and there's very low engagement then on Facebook for the messages that they're sending. Anybody see this at all on Facebook? It is best when you work with siblings, Jane, because it's a testament to the parents' faith in your services. I agree. So when they are referring us, it is absolutely incredible. Can you guys hear me okay right now? Okay, good. I know there was no sound before, but on the video that I was sharing, but now we've got the sound. All right. So what do we do instead? We need to understand those three levels in the buyer's journey. What is the problem? Now, there are two types of problems. They are either problem aware, they understand there's a problem, and there's problem aware and solution aware. So a lot of people, if they recognize there's a problem for their child, are solution aware, right? They know that they need to go to tutoring services, but they don't know who to go to for tutoring services, right? Or who to trust to go to for their tutoring services. But some parents are not problem aware, and they're still in the stages of deciding, is there a problem for my child that requires tutoring services? So I need to understand where they're starting from. Are they starting from, yes, I understand that there's a problem for my child, or do I understand what the solution is for my child? And I need to educate them on both of those things. Like a lot of parents will find out, like, hey, does my child have dyslexia? I'm not sure, right? They're still trying to figure out how big is this problem, right? They're not really looking for a solution maybe at this time. They're just trying to understand, does my child have a problem? Then we have the consideration stage, right? Well, now that I know that there's a problem and now I know what the solution is, who am I going to consider? Where am I going to go online? Who am I going to trust? Right. And then there's the decision stage, and we create content at all three of these different stages. So we create content that's going to share answers to the frequently asked questions, the myths, and the objections that they specifically have. And in the Insider Secrets Club, that is the exact content that we're creating. It goes with the levels of buying versus, influencer type content that we see on YouTube or other places or on Instagram. When we are selling our tutoring services, we need to approach it with the problem and solution aware side of things, the consideration, and then that decision stage. We have to create our content based off of this, which is why we create content in this way. And I saw lots of you guys creating content who are inside of the Insider Secrets Club. Yeah, you go. This week has been like the week. I love it. That is so fantastic. So congratulations on creating that content. But I would love to know from you guys, let's open up the discussion of this promotional message without understanding the buying stages. I know I fell into this trap when I got started. I had no idea. Like I just thought, oh, I'm just going to post something on my Facebook page, and then people are just going to reach on out to me. Did anybody else kind of post with that idea or that thought? Yeah, Millie, tell us more about it for you.
I've been in business since 2016, and in the beginning, that's what I did. I had one of my secretary or one of my tutors go ahead and post, we tutor and we're good, and we all of the credentials and all of the success. So and it was just more about, it was more like posting flyers than
Yes.
engaging. It wasn't really engaging. The only
Yes.
people that were liking me were the people that knew me. Everybody
Yeah.
else was kind of like, I guess they would just scroll and, oh, just this is just another person. Whereas now I understand more of the given value. So now I'm like, oh,
Right.
let me give these couple of tips, a quick way to help the kids with multiplication. Let me give a couple of little tips of what to do during a break. And let me give a couple. And with that, and also commenting on people's thing, their child is stuck on something. Hey, have you tried this? And by adding that
Yeah.
value, it seems to be more of a give and take than just,
Yes.
hey, take this. They like, I don't want it.
Exactly. How much do you charge? Right? Because I need to get you out of my inbox as quickly as possible. Let's ask about your pricing right away. I'm going to call a couple other people because I'd love to be able to hear from you guys as well. Kate, what have you noticed when it comes to like people understanding the buying stages and the type of content they create?
Well, I was going to comment about what doesn't work, which is where I
Yeah,
am at the moment. So I was just trying to get my face out there on social media and didn't really know what to
right,
post. Um,
right.
so I put some fun physics memes that once again my friends really liked, Millie, but obviously it didn't get any customers. And then I did post some like reviews I'd got,
Uh-huh.
but once again, I think that's sort of a bit boring. I think people want content, which is where I'm at now. So I know what
And the
that's
reviews
like.
are important because it depends on their buying stage. So those people that are in the consideration stage, they need to see those testimonials. So remember that this is a long game. It's not a short game. And I think a lot of people make that mistake thinking that social media is going to be a short game. I can get quick wins and I can get quick students. Anybody ever feel that way? Give me a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it really is when we think about investing in the strategy over time versus I'm going to get this quick win and then like everything's going to explode for my business. Or we have the opposite. Well, I can't post too much because if too many people respond back to me, I'm not going to be able to handle it. You know, we have people on the other side where they have a fear of getting, which has happened to no one, by the way, ever that they've gotten. So you'd already have to be at like influencer status in order for that to happen, which, you know, most of us are not in that in that playground where that is happening. So yeah, we have to be really cognizant of that. So yeah, you're right. It does feel like you're talking to yourself, Anita. And I think this is one of the biggest reasons why the Insider Secrets Club in our community is such an amazing place to be because we actually comment on each other's stuff intentionally so that we can get the algorithm going and then have a few more people see that because once people start actually responding and engaging with your content, Facebook says, oh, this is good content. Let me show it to more people. And it opens up its algorithm to another level of people who might not have seen that post. And so again, we have to think about this from the long term. Anybody else want to add information on the buying stages? All right, another mistake that people make, spamming groups. And they don't even know that they're doing this. Okay, honestly. They don't know they're spamming the groups. They don't even, when they think about spamming, I don't know, because we get so much spam. I don't know if other people realize what spamming actually is. Spamming is sending a message that and putting content out there without people's permission, messaging them without permission, just throwing as many like sales ads out there on social media. But what you're going to notice is people are only posting their posts. Like the people that are doing this, and like I have a group that I created in the beginning. It's called the um find find online font find online tutors or something like that. Um and I had created it because I was just like, okay, I need a place to send people and that join the ultimate support group who all they want to do is just spam messages. I need to create a place for them online because at that point in time it didn't exist. There are now 28,000 people inside of that community, you guys. Okay. And you would think, oh, wow, that's impressive, Joanne. There are 28,000 people inside of that. Yeah, 28,000 people that are like, me, hire me, hire me. And that kind of messaging doesn't get engagement. And so these people, I I want people to really wrap their head around this phrase that we use. People will ask you, "Hey, are you using social media?" Has anybody heard somebody ask that question before? Are you using social media? You know, to get the word out there about your business? Has anybody said that to you? Yeah, I see lots of head nods. Okay, let's think about what that means. How do you feel when somebody uses you? Anybody feel good when somebody is using you? I can see Millie like, no, I do not like it when Emanuela, no, I do not like it when people use me. Yet, that's the way that we go about it when we begin to put ourselves out there on social media. We're using it, right? We're not engaging with it. And that is the biggest problem with people who fail when it comes to sharing their message on like Facebook. Facebook is a social media. Social. Social means that as people and humans, we're coming together, not I'm going to be a billboard that just shares my message, please hire me. And so let's take a look at What does that look like? Okay, so I asked this question inside of my that group that I talked about, the Find an Online Tutor group. You can find it online. It's got 28,000 members inside of it. And I said, hey, I'm the admin, and I'm curious about how many of you have actually gotten students from this group. Comment below. Now, look at these responses because this is what I find the most interesting. None, zero, but hopeful for the future. None yet, none, 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 none at all. So these people, they are following this process of what they see other people doing, and they're really hopeful. We call this hope marketing. Hope marketing is I'm going to take an action and I hope I get students versus being what we call strategic. And inside of the Insider Secrets Club, we teach you on how to be strategic with your marketing so people can hear your message. They can learn to like and trust you and feel comfortable with you. But it comes with having the right content that we're putting on out there. So the spamming of groups does not work. And here's what we need to do. And we heard this before from Kelly, add value. How do we create value? If somebody asks a question, we answer it and we don't say, message me in the inbox. Because now I'm going to get you into my inbox and I'm going to try to like sell you on my tutoring services. Or they say, oh, well, I'm actually a tutor. You can hire me. You need to follow group rules. And there's two different types of groups that we learned when we dove deeper into Facebook in the Insider Secrets Club. There are private groups and there are public groups. The public groups are extremely spammy, have very low engagement. Public groups are better depending on the group, but you do have to follow the group rules and you do have to understand them. It is not like I break the law and then I hope people will forgive me later kind of thing. When you break the law inside of a group, what will most likely happen is you get kicked out of that group. And then I've actually had people who will comment, why did you kick me out of this group? And oh, people can get really horrific. And I'll be like, look, there were group rules that you chose not to read when you joined that group and you broke them. And you get to tell people like which rule they broke, but they will argue their way out of like everything. And I have to just kind of let it go when that happens. But here's like the group rules inside of my ultimate support group for online tutors. No promotions or spam. And you're going to see this a lot in people's, groups. Do not promote. So if you start promoting, you throw up those like Facebook flyers and ads, guess what's going to happen? They're going to kick you out or they're going to take your post down or they're not even going to show it because they have to like approve the message. So they're not even going to let you in. No hate speech or bullying. Like you're going to see this as a rule across the board in most of the groups. So if you go on in with your own agenda or you start being like rude to other people, you're going to get kicked out of that group. Now, you may have a strong opinion, but you have to realize that you can agree to disagree, right? And if you have a strong opinion, my suggestion would be don't respond, right? If you're like, you highly believe something or you want to call somebody a name, do not do that. On social media. You are not going to make friends that way, right? And would you rather make friends and build a great, online presence? And I have a feeling that nobody inside of this group right now that is present with me would do that because those people, they're too good for groups like ours. So I know that nobody here is doing hate speech or bullying or anything like that, but it has happened inside of my ultimate support group that where we've had to kick people out because they just had to share their opinion in a way that was hurtful. Also, most groups will say, hey, you need to respect everyone's privacy, right? You need to be authentic, expressive. Discussions make groups great, but they also might be sensitive in private. And in those private groups, you don't have to worry that those posts will ever get seen by anybody else. That's the beautiful thing about them being private. But if you do post inside of a public group, those posts can be seen by absolutely everybody. And so sometimes you just don't know what other people are seeing. So you want to make sure that you are being respectful, be kind and courteous, ask permission before you message, accept admins. All right, look, I've started this group. I'm growing this group. I am doing all these different things. I'm going to put posts in there where I ask people to message me. But this is my group, so I get to make that rule, right? But if you come on into the group and you begin doing that, that's called poaching. And I've had a lot of people come on into the group. They'll be, social media experts that are just like joining the group they think they want to be able to help tutors, but what they're really trying to do is they want to take over and they want to start to share their marketing ideas to tutors about what they think is going to work. But most of the times we don't even have we don't even have like an agreement to be able to work together. And so I don't want those kinds of people inside of like my group doing that. Um, you want to make sure that you're providing value. There are no links and promos that are allowed. So people who are like sharing their other Facebook pages or their Facebook groups or their any of those kinds of things, their website, like that is not allowed, and no affiliate links, right? Because we want people to be able to have honest discussions inside of a group. We have to put these ground rules in place so people want to stay, they feel safe, and they feel like they have a place where they can be heard. And the last one is I do not allow requests for people to hire tutors inside of my group. So I say, hey, if you genuinely want to pass on a student, you can. But if you're like looking to hire tutors, message me first. And I do have an ability to kind of go through a vetting process. There is a payment or fee that they have to pay in order to make it through to the next round. We're going to allow you to do that kind of thing. But only pre-approved ads are welcome. And they need to understand that they are an ad, right? Because they're going to make money off of that transaction. And what ends up happening, and a lot of people don't realize this, is a lot of people, if they'll come to me as the admin of the group and they'll say, this person over here said they were going to pay me $60 an hour and they're only paying me 30. And they want to say it's my fault. And it's like, look, this is a Facebook group. Like I have no control over that. So I just had to make the rule, look, no request to hire tutors, right? Again, if you want to pass somebody on out of the generosity of your heart, cool. Because you don't know any other tutors, absolutely amazing. I love that. That is going to build trust. That's going to build an amazing network referral for you. All good things across the board will happen for everybody involved in that process. So take a look. This is in the About Us section. If you're looking for where are the rules in a Facebook group, it says About Us on the right-hand side, and you'll be able to go on in and you'll be able to learn about that. So let's open up the discussion about real quick here about the spamming in the groups. What are your thoughts? What have you seen? What do you do? Love to be able to hear more.
One of the things I've noticed as I'm searching for groups to be a part of and to offer value in are groups that is nothing but spamming. And I'm curious, I see tutors, hundreds and hundreds of tutors joining these groups and putting there, this is what I do, but I don't see any activity. And yet, I mean, it seems persistent in posting, and I'm wondering, is it just a matter of they're putting it out there? Because I don't see, maybe I'm missing that they're getting feedback and they're getting responses. But for
No,
me,
you're not missing it at all. You're not missing it at all. They're not.
like just one long billboard that I scroll
Yes.
through, you know?
And so that would not be a group that I would join.
Right.
So when I'm deciding to like choose a group, I will look through that ahead of time if I can. If I can't, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to join it, and then the admin approves me to join that group, and then I look through and I'm like, oh, this is just spam, then I'm going to exit and not take part in that group. Because that's not an engaged community. And I don't want to spend my time in communities that are not engaged communities, because it is just going to be other people just spamming their stuff. So I will kindly exit and I will delete that group so it doesn't show up in my feed. And then I'm not like left with all of these marketing messages for hire this tutor that's going to teach 15 different subjects, or this company that's going to hire people for $10 an hour and pay them, get paid, $30 an hour and try to be the cheapest tutor on the totem pole. Like, I don't want to have anything to do with any of those people. So that's what I do. Anybody else?
Well, we had a situation. There was a local, in my town, a tutoring group, and the rules were somewhat open whether or not you could be like a one-person shop or you had like subcontractors. And there was one person anytime, and it was for parents to come visit, like if you were looking for a tutor, and there was one person like anytime there was a request, just the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And finally the administrator said we can only have one person shop. So I was kind of irritated because I felt like this person wasn't really playing by the rules. It was just spam, 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 spam.
Yes,
Now
yes.
the requirement was you only can be a one-person shop, which is unfortunate. But
Oh,
I respected that the person was, very, clear about their rules. And because I
hmm
had subcontractors, I said, okay, I can't join your group anymore. But
yeah.
it's too bad that people can't play nice. That's all I had to have to say.
Yeah, or in that specific case, like Millie also has is subcontracted, but she also has her own students as well. So she could still like play inside of that group, but really only identify as herself who is getting students legit for herself versus getting students for them. So there would be a place for her to be able to kind of play and be able to interact in that specific situation. Just understanding what the ground rules are ahead of time are great, right? And that's where taking a look at those rules on the side can be really, really helpful. Do you have any of your own students, Jane, as well, or is it only for your subcontractors?
Oh no, I have my own students as well. But I
Yeah.
remember having a conversation with the moderator, and she said, look, because you have subcontractors, we can't use you. You can only be a, owner, sole proprietor. And I said, okay, that's fine. I mean, I felt like it's too bad for me, but if that's what the rule, because I think it was because that other person kept just, posting. Because
Yeah.
I said, like, I can do it. I can help with, writing. But they were like, no, no, we know that you have subcontractors. You can't be in this group. It's like,
So I
okay.
wonder if you said, no, actually, I also work with students myself, and I'm only right now participating as a solo tutor in this group who will specifically work with the students that I am connecting with.
She said no.
Okay. So, but that would be the thing, like, and here's where the difference comes on in, and I think you're going to see this later about the hiding behind a logo piece of it, right? Like if I'm hiding behind a logo, you can't see my face. I look like a bigger, business than I am. That is where you're definitely going to run into a little bit more problems as well. But
Mm.
in that specific case, usually people wouldn't know me. Now she had already gotten to know you because you had been probably posting, you could take a certain position because you had the subcontractors. She had known a little bit more of your history and those kinds of things. But in most groups, most moderators wouldn't know you as well
Mm.
to be able to make that distinction if you are participating as that sole tutor inside of that community and you had known those ground rules ahead of time. So just know that, if that's what they're looking for, then just participate in that way, like for getting students for your own. But again, it's all about adding value versus just like, oh yeah, I can take on a client or those kinds of things. But it's all about engaging, asking questions, taking part in polls, and all of that kind of stuff as well. Let's take a look at the next one, which is join groups solely just to get students. It's all the what's in it for me approach, and it doesn't work. It does not work to just solely go on in there and go in there with like, I can help students thinking like, oh, but I'm going on in to be able to help students. You're going in so that you can make money, right? And if you're not going, if you're taking on students for free, cool, but most of us aren't. We are charging for our services. We need to um, value a community and what does it mean to be a part of community and not go in it with just the self-interest that we're going to gain because of it. And when we do that, you're going to have so much more success. And I'll show you here. We need to think about instead, what's in it for them? Why do they want to keep coming back to this community? Am I adding the type of content that I would want to see that type of content because it would be helpful? Or are you answering questions that are dealing with things without expecting anything in return? The people that are the most successful are the people who just answer a question, right? If somebody's like, hey, my kid is struggling with being able to learn to read, ask another question. What are they specifically struggling with when it comes to reading? Are they struggling with fluency? Are they struggling with phonics? Are they struggling with comprehension? You know, what seems to be the biggest problem they're experiencing right now? And then what resources could you share with them that could be helpful for them? Hey, I have this free resource that you can check on out that I created for other people in your situation. Or I have this blog post that shares 4 different things. Would you like me to send it to you? Okay, again, permission marketing is what we talk about inside of our community. Would you like me to send it to you? Wait till the response, wait for them to say yes or no, and then you can send the information. What's going to happen now is other people are going to say, oh, can you send that information to me as well? Right. And this is going to have a really great effect. Now we're getting to build on, you know, finding out what is this child really struggling with? What can I do to be helpful? What can I do to, um, you know, make sure that your child is getting what your child needs at this point in time. You know, we want to build trust by offering helpful advice and contributing meaningfully. And you know what happens when you begin to do that? All of a sudden, when somebody says, I need a reading tutor or I need a math tutor, you just see a whole bunch of people inside of the community saying, check out Joanne. She's amazing because she's offered so much value inside of this group. Or check out Millie. Millie helps with middle school math specifically. You're going to love her. And they're going to know what it is that you do. And you don't have to worry about them not knowing what it is that you do because you've been sharing so much value and interacting and engaging. Now, some people are going to say, but Joanne, that just takes way too much time. I do not have time to invest in being able to do a kind of strategy like that. Well, if you want to be successful on social media, you have to think about engaging with people like you're meeting them in real life. Not go on in and go for the sale. Like I'm not gonna like walk up to somebody on the sidewalk and say, I tutor reading. Do you have a kid who's struggling with reading? I'm just not gonna do that. That's just weird, right? But we do it on social media all the time. And so when I do that and I don't get like people literally, they would look at you cross-eyed if you did that. You're like walking down the sidewalk. You're like, hey, I tutor reading. Do you know anyone who's struggling? They're just going to keep walking right by you. And that's the exact thing that happens on social media. So I'd love to kind of get your feedback. Let's open up the discussion here about your thoughts about this. There are some great ways to find groups that do engage and aren't selling things or spamming. There really are. So Kate, you're already inside of our community. If you go into the monthly focus and you go to where I talk about Facebook, I go through the entire, like we spent like 3 or 4 months all on Facebook. You can check out the entire strategy that we put into place for Facebook.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's my problem. I end up spending an hour or two sometimes when I think I'll find some Facebook groups, and they're either spammy or they might be a local community one, but then within it, everyone's just talking about the police raiding someone's house or something. Like there's no parents going, help.
Right.
I can't find the Facebook groups that just have genuine conversations about life.
Yes.
So I
And
think I'm
so,
just
and
not
that's not
looking.
necessarily the groups that you want to join. And so what I'm thinking is you don't have a very good group strategy because you're going into the wrong groups. And if you watch those videos, then you'll get to see how to find the right groups. And you want to go into it with a real strategy in place versus just trying to join a bunch of groups and then seeing a whole bunch of content on your Facebook feed then that you don't care about seeing. And then you're frustrated by the whole entire thing. The other mistake that tutors will make is they'll be like, I want to hire a social media person to just do this for me. Guess what?
Yeah.
They're just going to do the spammy thing. They're going to be
I
posting
made
about
that
your
mistake.
business. Yeah. Tell us about that, Millie.
I made that mistake. I
Yeah.
hired a social media person and paid good money and got no return on investment at all. And then, like
Yeah.
you said, stuff was popping up into my social media that was not what I wanted on my social media chain. But yeah, it was a waste. And I don't
Yeah.
me now adding value and answering questions and giving out information and little tricks and things like that, that it it seems it's so much better for people to look at and parents to say, you know what, this is interesting, as opposed to like, oh, just another flyer. I like when you put in perspective, like people walking by in the street. I never thought about it like that. Say, hey, you just walking by, you're like, what do you want? So I like that perspective of, being on social media and talking to people you don't know. It's like talking to somebody in the street that you don't know. So,
Right.
the whole add value is very important.
Yeah, it really is. And another thing is, a lot of tutors will actually see other tutors as competitors and looking at them as like, oh, they're my competition versus, there's somebody that I could potentially collaborate with, right? And this is going to limit your opportunities for those collaborations, those referrals, and those mutual support. I think, Kelly, you said at one point that most of your clients actually came from referrals of other tutors. Was that you, Kelly, who said that?
Yeah, and that's still my strongest way of getting new clients. Also, what's strengthening is, in fact, all of my clients now are referrals, and they're either from other tutors or clients that I've already worked with, because a lot of mine are short term because we're working on scholarship essays, college application essays, maybe getting through just the AP language course. So they're older students and they're moving on quickly and they're just hitting their hot spots for when they need support. They come back, but their parents and themselves, they tell their friends who are struggling, and that's how I get students.
Yeah. So finding groups on Facebook where other tutors are hanging out is not competition, is not hanging out with your competition. It is a place where you get to build those relationships. So that's something you want to really think about, because it's not an unnecessary, rivalry. There is space for everyone. And think about how many students you really can take on. Like for me right now, I can only take about 15 students or 15 hours of work each week because of the work that I do with the community, right? So that's that's such a tiny amount compared to how many kids need tutoring in the whole span of things, right? Yeah, Kelly.
It also develops a team for me, working with other tutors, not competing with other tutors. Like Millie and I support one another. She can text me and say, I'm meeting this challenge. I can text her and say, I'm meeting this challenge. And we problem solve together. And we both have different experiences and different kinds of clients. So our perspectives are different. But I don't think I've ever seen any or ever felt that anyone in our community was competing. It was all, we're in this together. It's our
Yeah.
group. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this is what comes in to be really, really powerful is we get to network with other tutors for ideas, referrals, partnerships, right? And so if you're not a member of the Ultimate Support Group for Online Tutors, definitely join that specific group. I have a QR code where you can click on that and you can then become a member inside of our community. So if you're watching this on replay, hit pause, take a snap of that, come join us over in the Ultimate Support Group. That's the free group. We do have the insiders. You'll get to hear a little bit about that at the end. But if we take a look here, another mistake that people make is responding to price inquiries without learning more about the student. So somebody like comes on in and they're like, so how much do you charge for your tutoring? Like that's the first question they ask. This is going to lead to price objections because potential clients, they don't see the full value yet. It is also going to reduce you to competing solely on cost. Anybody reach out to them in Facebook and say, how much do you charge? Okay, so nobody's had that happen to them. All the time. Okay, Kate's got it all the time. Like, how much you charge is like the first question, right? So here's what we need to do instead. We need to look at, okay, when they ask what price, are they asking another question? Answer that one. Now, if they're like, no, I just need to know how much you charge. And you need to say, because you need to do something that's called qualify them. Okay. When you qualify them, you're actually finding out, are they a good fit for you? Not every person who reaches out to you is going to be a good fit. So what you need to do is when they say, I need to know your pricing, and you say, I need to learn more about your child so I can be helpful for you. I may be a good fit or I may not be a good fit, but I actually, if I find that I'm not a good fit, I am in connection with a whole bunch of other tutors and I can refer you to another tutor who might be a better fit than me. And so my goal is not to, sit here and, and talk about prices when we don't know what your child specifically needs. So would you be willing to tell me more about what your child is struggling with? Right. And it's not rude, it's kind of rude for them to like, what, how much do you charge? Right. And again, it's kind of like the same thing. Like you go into a store and you're like, what do you charge? What do you charge? Like nobody walks through and just starts saying that. They might start looking, or if they don't see that there's a price on something, maybe they'll ask, hey, do you happen to know the price on this? Or, you know, right. But they don't just start walking around saying, what do you charge? Right. So it's the only question sometimes that they know how to ask. And so when we can look at it from that point of view and just say, I'm not ignoring you, I hear you, but first let's see if there's a fit and if there's a need. So we want to qualify them. Is this a good fit for them? If it is, then you could say, look, I'd love to do a free assessment. And sometimes people might say, look, can you just tell me how much you charge? Because I don't want to go through the free assessment and then find out I can't afford you. Then share how much you charge at that point. They're not going to move forward anyways, right? Most likely, because they're probably going to think you just cost too much, no matter what it is. You could be charging $10 and they'd say that's too much. It doesn't matter. So, but if they don't qualify, then you can refer them to a tutor who is going to serve them better. You can also ask about their price point. Say, hey, I'm connected with a bunch of tutors. When you're thinking about how much you would like to pay for a tutor, what is your budget? What are you thinking? And then you can be honest with it. They give you a ridiculous price, like $10 an hour, just say, unfortunately, I don't know anybody who's working at that price point. So I'm not going to be able to help you. Um, or if they say, oh, they're looking for like half of what you charge, then you can say, okay, great. Let me see if I know anybody who's charging that rate and I can get back to you. Is that something that you would be interested in? Right. Again, it's all about helping them. It's not about I need to land this specific client all of the time. And I did this. I had a client reach out to me and she did. She just had the question of how much do you charge? And I said, look, I'd really love to be able to learn more about your child first and see if there's even a need or if my services are going to fill that need. What is she struggling with? We had an amazing conversation and we continued. She went through the free assessment, she qualified, and then from there she moved forward with my services. And she looked at me on that consultation when she said yes, she wanted to move forward with me. She said, I just want to tell you why I said yes to you. She said, I reached out to 4 different tutors. Every single one of them told me what they charge, except you. She goes, you actually took the time to learn more about my daughter. You were the only one. So this really does work, you guys. Like people, they inquire because they know it's the only question. That's the only question they know to ask. So we have to redirect them and just determine, are they qualified? Love to know your thoughts about this. What are you thinking as you kind of think about this process, about people who just respond to you with prices? Everybody's quiet.
I've had, and I think I've probably learned it from you. I always try and be helpful and nice, and I know I'm expensive compared to everyone else. So I'm always super helpful, and I've had the odd family that they keep buzzing around me, like maybe for 6, 8 months, and we might have a chat every now and again, and I'll offer free advice. And I've had 2 have come to my holiday camps, which are actually
Oh,
cheaper per hour because they're in
yeah,
groups. So they don't do the one-to-ones, but when I do a group one, they're always really excited. And they even
fantastic.
bother me, so they'll email me maybe every few months and say, "Oh, are you doing any more class camps?" So
Yeah,
yeah, so it's that just being nice and helpful, even if you're not a fit for them right now. So
yeah,
that's worked out
exactly.
well.
And some people, they need to experience working with a less experienced tutor, charging less, who isn't getting the results that they want, and they need to follow you a little bit longer to know if you're going to be a good fit. And that's okay. Remember, it's a long game, not a short game. All right. The next one here, this is the Hana Mahana logo one, right? And this fails because people build trust with people, not logos. So I wanted to show you an example. This is actually inside of my ultimate support group. Somebody joined with this profile that has a pencil here. I'm going to guess the pencil is probably their logo in some way. And then this banner says like A+ on it. I don't know anything about the company, right? It just says DQ Tutoring. Don't know what DQ stands for. They're trying to look like a bigger company. Maybe they are a bigger company. I have no idea. But when I look at this, I don't have the same kind of trust as I do when I see somebody's professional photo. And so you don't want to hide behind a logo. People do business with people. Even if you have other tutors working for you, you still don't want to go with that image. Bigger companies, maybe like Sylvan, can get away with it because they're doing paid advertising. So most of their advertising isn't in the organic type of advertising that we're doing, where we're trying to build relationships with people. They're going in for the quick sale, and they're usually going on in with the paid advertising. And that's why they can get away with it. They've got the money that they can throw behind it. A lot of us do not have the money to be able to do the paid advertising. And first of all, we don't even have somebody on our advertising team that we know of that's going to be able to do that effectively and be able to get us students, right? And so they have recruited somebody who knows what they're doing and can make it work for them. They also are charging enough for the services and not paying the tutors enough in order to be able to do that. So here's what you want to do instead. You want a clear professional photo. And this is actually advice that I just got this past weekend. So you might have noticed my photos changed a little bit. What I've done is I've actually added a color that makes my picture pop behind it. And what happens is when you scroll through all of the different photos, you're going to notice that this pops, right? So all you have to do is remove the background, and you can do that easily on Canva, and add a color that's going to make your picture pop. So you're going to see now on mine, I've got that circle and I've got that on there. And here we have, they post more than they engage. Why does this fail? Facebook favors accounts that interact with each other, right? So posting without engaging, it's going to come off as one-sided, and it actually reduces your visibility. And if you feel like you're talking to no one and you feel invisible, this could be part of the reason, right? Because you don't have a community who's going to back you up when you are posting things. You don't have other people liking and commenting on your stuff that is going to help the algorithm get it going for you, right? And that's what we do inside the Insider Secrets Club. Every Wednesday, we meet together and we comment on each other's Facebook posts and we engage. But do you know what's really happening? I find not only is that happening on the side, like that's the bonus. I feel like that's the bonus stuff. What's really happening when we do that is we as tutors are getting to know each other as tutors and what we're really good at and what we can help other people with because we're posting the right content that is moving people through the sales conversation. And you know what ends up happening because we do that? We're like, oh my God, if I ever have a student who needs the writing services that Kate has, I so need to refer them to her. That's what ends up happening. And so we're building relationships with other tutors as we go through that process. So we need to spend time liking and commenting and sharing other people's posts. Now, if you are one of those people who's like, no one got time for that, then you don't have the time to do the social media right. Or you need to think about how many students do I want to be able to work with? Like if I had 3 people who reached out to me today and they're ready to pay for my services, do I have room for them on my schedule? If the answer is yes, then during those hours, that's when I need to be focusing on spending time on social media, right? So if I have a student that I want to take at 3 o'clock, and I have a student that I'd love to have at 6 o'clock, and I have a student that I would love to be able to have on, Thursdays at 4 o'clock, then I want to make sure that those 3 hours each week that I am spending on the tasks that are going to get me that student. And when I get a student, I reduce my hours down to, okay, I'm only going to spend 2 hours now each week focusing on my social media strategy. So a lot of times we use that excuse of I don't have time. Well, if we really don't have time, then we don't have time to take on another student either, right? And so we have to really take that into consideration. Do you really have the time to be able to take on new students? If you do, well, then utilize that time to do social media right. And you want to set daily or weekly goals for meaningful interactions. I only interact like once a week on my Facebook page or inside of the group with the community. And it's enough. You know, it's not like I have to be on there all of the time. And if you are interested in learning more about the Insider Secrets Club or how to create the right content, you can click on this QR code, and I have more information here for you to check out, and you can learn what it's like to be inside of the Insider Secrets Club. We already have a lot of people inside of this call right now too that are already part of the Insider Secrets Club. I'd love to be able to hear from you. What has your experience been like being a member of the Insider Secrets Club, where we do like comment on each other's posts so we don't feel so lonely out there and feel like we're talking to no one. Yeah, Kelly.
I think there are multiple things that's happened since I've been included in the Insider Secrets Club. And I think the biggest is creating relationships with other professionals that are meaningful and real, and allowing myself to be vulnerable in the community has pushed me to grow. I make mistakes, I get back up, I do what Joanne says, then sometimes I don't, and she reminds me, and I get back up. What are you doing? I told you. And and it's okay. It's okay to
Yes.
kind of resist things and then watch other people succeed in those particular activities, or see other people that are struggling like I am in particular activities. And it's okay. We're all on different levels. We're all playing the same game to get to help each other to get to our goals. And I think that's really key.
I agree. I agree. Amelia, I'd love to hear your thoughts about being part of the community and what it's been like for you.
There's so many different aspects. Being that we're talking about social media, that definitely used to be my Achilles heel. That's why I hired people. That's why I had my tutors who I thought were good on social media to try it. And I was just so afraid of it, and because I didn't understand it. And one thing that uh, the Insider Secrets Club, it helped to really break it down where I really understand it. So even though I'm a boomer, I guess I'm giving away my age. Even though I'm a boomer, I get it and I understand it a lot more. So we did a whole thing on LinkedIn. We did a whole thing on Facebook. So in understanding it better, now I look forward. I feel even better on what I'm posting. When we went and we went through this, let's go through our groups and see, what they are and why we joined them. And I did that. I was one of those spammers. I didn't even know it. And I went and I cleaned it out. I'm like, I don't need to be on
Yeah.
these groups. I'm gonna select, I'd rather be quality to maybe 4 or 5 groups than to have 20
Right.
groups in hopes that they'll hire me. Yeah, and I know some of it was me, some of it was the people that I asked, like I need, and we thought that it was like the more you're out there, the better, and the cheaper you charge, the better. And it just didn't work that way. Learning and
Yeah.
understanding, and like Kelly says, working together with each other. Hey, I'm thinking about putting this up, and oh, well, did you touch a pain point here, or did you, where's your picture, or and we help each other, and that's where that collaboration comes in. And so
Yes.
social media is just one small piece of the group, but I'm just trying to stay in context here, how much I've
Yeah.
learned, how much I've grown. And now that I'm slowly applying, I know that that needle will move. And I know because there are other tutors that have been applying everything and they're getting large results. And you're
They
like, well,
are.
I know it's possible. I know it's possible. So it's like, okay, now we have the information. We know how to do it. Now we have to clean it up and do it right.
Yeah. It's like a spray and pray model that we're like trying in the beginning, right? Like, let me spray as many of these groups as I possibly can and hope that one comes on out, maybe two, maybe three. Come on. And then we get zero and we're like, huh. Well, let me just keep spraying. If I keep spraying, somebody's got to move forward, right? Let's keep spraying. Let's keep spraying. and that whole marketing doesn't work because we're following a whole bunch of people who are doing the wrong thing because they've decided. And I think this is, I don't know if it's societal, if it's just us tutors in general, but we think I can figure this out on my own. What we don't realize is sometimes we begin following people who haven't figured it out. And then all of a sudden we're like, oh my gosh. And then we hire somebody. We're like, okay, clearly I need to hire somebody. Clearly I need to hire somebody to do it because I don't know what I'm doing. And then we hire somebody and they're using these same methods and models. 90% of the people that you are going to hire to do your social media for you are going to do it in a way that's not going to work. The other 10% are too expensive for us to afford to be able to hire. And they're the ones who might do it right. And so, we might as well learn how to do it right. We don't have to be on every single piece of social media, right, out there in order to be successful. Because again, I only need, a certain amount of students in order to have my business really rolling and be able to get that business. And you had said something else earlier too that was so pivotal in this process, and I totally forgot what it was, Millie, because oh, that is such a poignant point of view, and I really want to bring it out, and I totally forgot it. But thank you so much for sharing your experience and what that has been like, because when we work together, we are better. When we collaborate, when we create connections, when we develop relationships, good quality relationships always trump masses of numbers. Do not fall into the vanity number trap. Right. I just want as many people to follow me as I possibly can. You see this on social media all the time, just so that they can see I have 20,000 people following me. Who the heck cares? No one. I don't care if you have 20,000 followers on YouTube or on Facebook. I want to know how many quality connections do you have? Those are going to move the needle so much more when people can see your authenticity. I'd love to know what stood out to you as you took a look at today's training. I'm going to stop sharing the slides here. What stood out to you as you took a look at the different strategies on here that we talked about, what works, what doesn't work? I had to charge my phone because it's going to die, and I had to move to my phone because my phone actually has a better connection. I got a 30-day connection for like $45, which was actually super cheap. Super excited I invested in that because the Wi-Fi here is kind of spotty. Anything stand out to you?
Thank you for the organization. So, that's just so you don't see a talking or no head, but see the voice. Thank you for the organization because I think I've thought of different things, but it just gets all jumbled up in my head. And
Yeah.
so the clarity. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You're welcome. Perfect. And that's what's important because we do see people doing these strategies online and then we think, oh, this is what I should probably be doing. I should probably create something like this, or I should probably create something like that. And a lot of the flyers that you see online that people are posting, they're like something that you could put like into a gas station. Sure, you could do that and you could be able to get students from a flyer like that, right? But a gas station thing, people are trusting it a little bit more because you're local. On Facebook, it's a whole different beast. And people are not trusting you just because you posted your stuff, right? And I think that's really the big piece of it. Anything else stand out to anybody else?
I think for me, it's the buying stages that you mentioned. I think I really have forgotten that, people are not going to be at the same point. And so you've got to address them where they're at.
Yes.
And I kind of got out of the habit because I haven't posted for such a long time. And I think I just began questioning what the point of sharing, what I'd been doing. And I guess I can see the
Yeah.
relevance of it, but it's just reminding yourself every now and again, especially when you're not doing it on a regular basis, that people need to know that they need to build that trust with you if they're going to
Yeah.
reach out before they're going to
Yeah.
reach out to you. So yeah, that was really helpful.
Yeah, and let me share an example of that for you because this I think is extremely important for people to see. I'm going to escape out of here for a second so that I can move everything around here with all these multiple tabs. Okay, so I'm going to go on over to my, I think it was this one here, Facebook. No, let's go on over to my, so it's online, find an online tutor is my group. Okay, find an online tutor. That was the other group that I created. Don't join that group, guys. It's not going to get you any students. This is the stretch. Here we go. Literally, first thing up, online classes, offering subjects, math, physics, biology. Okay, now here's what I really want you to pay attention to. How many, what's the post reach? You literally are talking to no one. 0 post reach. Oh, how many comments are there? Anybody see any comments?
Yeah.
No, there's 0 again. All right. Well, maybe that was just a fluke. Let's go on to the next one. Math and science tutoring. Hey, we got a picture here. Yay, good. I can see you're a person. That's great. That's a step up. About me, Faculty of Health BSc specialized honors kinesiology and health science, York University. Do you see what I'm talking about when I talked about people posting about their credentials versus about like what their child is struggling with or any of that? And like, oh, look at, I even have my GPA and I have 5 years of tutoring experience. Nobody cares. In fact, look at this reach. Well, what's the post reach? I'm not making this stuff up, you guys. Like, I didn't like create this group and I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to like create this group and throw a whole bunch of fake stuff on here. This is a real group with 0 posts, like 0 post reach, 0 engagement. Now, last night I posted this. Now, this person posted this 17 minutes ago. So that their fairness, there's that. Here's neat G physics. And I can see a very squashy kind of photo of him here. 29 post reach, 0 comments. This is an hour ago. It says unavailable. I don't know what they did. This is an hour ago. Again, all of his experience, all of that great stuff. It got a 4 post reach, but 0 comments. This person here an hour ago, 10 post reach, but 0 engagement. So like very little. The only people probably seeing this stuff is probably the people that are posting the stuff inside of here. Honestly, 4 post reach, 0 comments. All right, so you get the point here. Let me click on this. This I like literally posted this last night. Right here, posted this last night, 17 hours ago. Okay. When you invest in people, the impact lasts a lifetime. 2 years into my tutoring journey, an incredible family reached out to me, and it started with their daughter. She needed help with reading comprehension, and soon after, they referred me to their niece and nephew, and then came their oldest son, and finally, their youngest, just 3 years old at the time. I worked with him for 7 years. During the pandemic, the dad asked me to homeschool his son full-time, covering every subject 5 days a week. What made this family unforgettable wasn't just their trust in me, it was the insatiable love for learning each child brought to every session. And years later, when I decided to grow another side of my business helping tutors, I had to cut down on my student hours. Telling that young man that I wouldn't be able to work with him anymore was one of the hardest conversations of my life. I cried that day. But this family didn't focus on what they were losing. They celebrated what I was building. And I promised to call them when I made it to London. And today, I kept that promise. 3 weeks ago, Pencil Spaces invited me to present at BET, a major ed tech conference in London, and the first family I called, theirs. Seeing those kids, now all grown up, took my breath away. This journey started with a single student, and today it's created a worldwide impact. The lesson, never underestimate the ripple effect of helping one person. Who's the one person that believed in your journey early on? Now take a look here. We've got here 17 comments, and we have over 40 likes and loves. And again, this was just posted last night. Who do you think people are going to remember? The person sitting there at the students that she served all these years and why this family trusted her, or the people that are posting those other posts that we just saw? Which one's going to leave a bigger impact? Who would you rather hire? Who do you want to entrust your kids with? That's the type of content we need to be creating. And that's the kind of content that's going to work on social media. So I hope this has been helpful for you guys. And Anita, are you coming to Bet this week?
Well, I'm really not well, so no.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear
Just,
that. I would have loved to have made. I know Kate is coming, so I'm super excited I get to meet Kate. But if any of you that are watching this on replay are coming, definitely stop by. I'm going to be at the Pencil Spaces booth because they have actually brought me on over here from the States. So if you are watching this on replay and you are going to be at Bet, come on over to Pencil Spaces and say hi because I would love to meet you. Not so I can promote anything, but because I genuinely love building relationships with other tutors and helping you guys get the results that you want to be able to get inside of your business. Thanks for joining everybody today, and I will see you all later. Bye, everyone.